What is going on YouTube? Welcome back to another video. So as you can see from the title, this is how you are going to aggressive cut. The whole blueprint that I use for myself, that I use for clients, everything like that through this video. So if you want to lose some fat fast, or you just want to clean up around the edges before bulking, save this guide. It is the only video you're going to need when it comes from how to structure it, how to set up your meals, cardio, everything like that. So what we have here is the face tracker. So this is one that I've just made. I've obviously got my real one here for all my clients, stuff like that. But this is the one we're going to go with. All right, so we can see it is stretched out over a 12-week period. But you're probably looking at this as, why there are only a few weeks for fat loss? I'm going to tell you why. So for all of you that watch my content, if you've worked with me in the past or if we've spoken about it in the DMs, I always prefer to aggressively cut first. If you're obese, if you have more than, let's say, 10-ish kilos to lose, this is not the blueprint. This is for the boys that have pushed the bulk that little bit too far, or someone that doesn't have that much fat to lose. So we can see here, we've got the first 6 weeks set up in a fat loss phase. All right, aggressive, calories are low. We're going to get to the meal plan in a second. Then we spend 4 of those weeks reversing, okay? Then we have a holding period here. So the reason I like to start hard, aggressive, right at the start is the beginning of the cut, before you've even started. That is when your body is most primed to lose body fat, because we've probably been gaining weight for some time. Our eating habits are probably not that good. Motivation is also the highest. I don't know about you, nobody wants to be cutting down for 24, 50 plus weeks. All right, if we can get the bulk of it off, the majority, when the body's primed to do so, we might as well. So the reason I like to start early are for those reasons. Seeing the scale go down, the body's dropping very quickly. It's literally a win-win. All right, so we start off. Again, this is just an example. Play around with your own numbers, but this is the blueprint on how to follow it. All right, so calories will start at 1700 on average. I'll get to the meal plan in a second. So we spend these 5, 6, 7 weeks. Again, general numbers can be a bit less, can be a bit more, with the predominant goal of losing body fat, getting as much off as possible. The reason you can't just stay on 1700, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Your hormones will go to shit, your training will go to shit, your body will start working against you. Okay, so we strategically set aside 5, 6, 7 weeks, again, a little bit less, a little bit more, just predominantly losing fat. That is the focus, okay? Then after that, the body gets a bit beat up. Your body starts kind of working against you, rejecting the goal of fat loss, okay? Starts to stress out, your body starts to hold water. It's a bit harder to get the fat off. So from there, you've probably seen a lot of people, including myself, say, eating more food but getting leaner, eating more food, still losing weight. This is when we begin the reverse period. All right, so during this reverse period, you're slowly increasing the calories back up to in and around maintenance, all right? Even though it sounds counterproductive, it sounds counterintuitive, it doesn't make any sense. When you are eating, let's say in this example, 200 calories extra, what those 200 calories extra do for you will most likely keep you in a deficit. As we keep dieting and dieting and dieting, you probably ask yourself, why don't I just keep lowering calories up in cardio, being in a bigger deficit? Because like I said, the body starts to work against you. When you naturally diet for a solid amount of time, aggressively in this example, you start moving around more. Your NEAT, your non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So how much you move around will naturally go down without you realizing. Okay, you're going to exceed less calories, you're going to burn less calories because you're tired, you're fatigued. All right, your body is also being deprived of nutrients. So your bodily functions are not running that smoothly. So we might add 200 calories in. So you're technically eating more food. But what that 200 calories will do for you, you'll move around more, which burns more calories. Your body will digest food a bit more, burn more calories. You're going to train harder in the gym, burn more calories. So think of it like this. You might eat 200 more calories. You might burn 300 to 400 more, still making the deficit 200 if you compare the two numbers, okay? That is the goal of the reversal period, to slowly increase your calories to get back up to your caloric maintenance, but you will naturally lose weight as you increase because the calories were so low and depleted at the time. Now again, you can hold 1900, then you can jump to 21, you can jump by 300, you can jump by 100. I've just found the 200 mark to be perfect for myself, for clients, etc. And you're going to do that up until you get back to in and around your caloric maintenance, okay? Now, after you start to notice, and again, this is what the weights are there for, which I'll get to in a second, you're going to have a little holding period. The reason you want a holding period is a lot of people like to go one end of the spectrum to the other. You need to give your body a chance to adapt. Think of it as like the marination period where your body is getting used to the adaptations. Because I guarantee if you finish your 6-week shred on 1700 and then the next day just jump back to 2500, you are going to gain some fat back very fast. And you've just pretty much undone all of the hard work you've done at the start. Okay, now the reason all of these are here, and again, you can do it in your notes, you can do it in an app, whatever you like. I just like doing it in a spreadsheet because it just looks a lot cleaner. So let's say we weigh 70 kilos one day, then we're 70.3, and then we're 70.8. We indulge. Make sure you tell your coach if you indulge. And then we go 70.3 again, and then we go 70.5, and then we finish the week good at 70.1 and 70. All right, beautiful. We're going to highlight this again. You can do this through a calculator. It's fine. We just want to take the weekly average. All right, 70.2. Beautiful. That's our starting point. Now, week by week, especially in an 800 at least to 1,000 calorie deficit under your maintenance, all right, we should be looking to lose at least a kilo a week, if not more. Okay, then let's say the next week we have a good week. We go 69.8. We're really good at the start. Then we go 69. Let's say 7, and then we have a little spike up back to 70, and then we hold it around 69.9. Another little blunder, and then we really finish the week strong, and we really drop that weight. All right, beautiful. Now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to get the average. You can't look at day-to-day weight because it does fluctuate. We get our average, beautiful. We've had an absolutely insane week, okay? I've just realized I've put that in wrong at 60. Let's go 69, and then let's go 69 again, which will make it a bit more accurate. Beautiful. All right. Now we finished the week at 69.7. All right, remember, this is just an example. You're going to be losing a bit more than that. So now we can look at that weight and go, okay, we've lost weight. We're on the right track. Now, your differences should be more, at least a kilo, like I said, but this is just the rough guideline on how to set it up. Now, you're going to keep going. Let's say our next average is 68.4, and then we have a week where our compliance isn't that good, and then we go massive drop. There we go. Boom. Then we're going to go 65 flat. All right. So we've lost around 5-ish kilos, 5.2 kilos in 6 weeks. Beautiful. Now, as we reverse, you will notice you'll probably still lose a bit of weight. I remember reversing myself, and with clients, boys are still losing a kilo a week, eating 1,000 calories more food because we took our time in this period here. Don't be scared to hold the same amount of calories for a week or two. Okay, so you can hold 1,900 for a week, 1,900 again. All right, we lost weight, bang, 2,100. And you just kind of play around with it. You are your own experiment. Okay, so this is how I would set it up. And then lastly here, your steps, your nutrition compliance, and your sleep and stress. One thing that really leveled up my gains, guys, is actually tracking my metrics and not just winging it. All right, so if you have an Apple Watch, a phone, you can go to the health app, you can see your average steps over the week. So let's say one week we get 10K steps, beautiful. Then we get, I don't know, let's say 11K, and then we get 7K. But then our nutrition and sleep were perfect, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10. We can now look at the data and think, okay, I didn't lose as much weight as I probably could have this week because my steps were low. Let's say we fixed the steps up, 13,000, bang. And let's say for this week, our nutrition was great, but our sleep was really bad and our stress. Guys, when you stress, you have a bad sleep, whatever it is, your cortisol will spike, leading you to hold water inflammation. So we can look at this week right here and say, okay, we didn't lose weight. Let's say we were 68.4, and then we look at how we were the next week, we were 68.5. God forbid we didn't lose any weight. So now we look at last week's actions, which determine this week's weight, and we go, okay, nutrition, beautiful, didn't miss a meal. Steps were high, great, smashed our cardio. My sleep and stress were bad. So now there's no guesswork. And this is what I really explain to clients in depth, that everything you do, think of it like a game. Everything gets saved in a game. Everything gets logged. All right. There is no guesswork. There is no, oh, unlucky. No. Once you start to track, you eliminate variables that might make you think, I need to do this. I need to do that. And you'll notice you will start making rational decisions based on data, not decisions based on emotion or how you felt. I didn't lose weight this week. That's it. Need to cut 1,000 calories. But before you do that, slow your roll. Why didn't you lose weight? My steps were good. My nutrition was good. My training was good. I need to fix my sleep. So then the next week, your sleep is great. 10 out of 10. Boom, boom, boom. Like absolutely flying off the radar, sleeping like a baby. Your steps were fucking 14,000. How good? You're a machine. But your nutrition compliance was a 5 out of 10. You didn't really stick to the plan. So now you can look at this again and say, okay, before I do anything irrational and stupid and make a decision based off my emotions and not data, let me fix up what needs fixing. In this case, it's my nutrition compliance. And that is as simple as it is, guys. Okay, this is the framework in which how you want to set up an aggressive cut. Very simple. Now we look to the meal plan. For boys and girls that have worked with me in the past and follow along with my content, they know that I'm a big believer in 2 variations of meal plans. So again, you can take this, you can modify it to your own numbers. This is just an example. All right, so I like to train in the morning. So this is my pre-workout meal. Highest in carb, low in fat, pretty moderate in calories. 4 corn thins, a banana, 20 grams honey, some salt for the sodium and potassium, and then 500 milliliters of coconut water intra-workout. In and around the training window, so we have pre-workout, training, post-workout, this is where we want the predominant amount of our carbohydrates, all right? Leading into meal 2, Cajun chicken and chips, one of the client favorites, very simple, chicken breast, spud lights, cucumber, tomato. Use seasonings. I much prefer to season my food because it's less calories than put sauce on it and blow fucking 100 calories on Kewpie mayo, where I could just season the thing with salt, save the 100 calories for something else. All right, again, just a simple template, very low in fat, high in carb, high in protein, or high for the time being because the calories are low. So you can see here, 173 grams of carbs throughout the whole day, and 112 of them come just in this pre and post window. That is where we want them. That's where our body's going to utilize them the most and where we are most insulin sensitive. Now, snacking during an aggressive cut. Normally, I'd say no, but if you're going to do it smartly, here's how I do it. You want to pair things that are going to fill you up. Something like fiber from strawberries, something like protein from protein powder, and something like caffeine from a coffee or an energy drink. Okay? The reason is caffeine suppresses your appetite. Exactly what we want in that kind of midday slump where we're hungry. Protein takes a long time to digest, okay, for fewer calories. Fiber takes a long time to digest. So see how we're being smart now. We're not just eating for the sake of it. We have higher carbs here to supply our training and recovery. We have caffeine to suppress the appetite. We have protein and fiber because they take long to digest, keeping us full. Guys, dieting is not hard. You just need to do it smartly, all right? Now, dinner. Again, simple meal, one of my favorites, one of the client favorites, taco mince with pumpkin mash, simple, 250 grams extra lean beef mince, 400 grams of pumpkin, super low calorie, 100 grams of asparagus, you can use whichever vegetables you like, and then 170 grams of avocado. So now, the meals furthest away from the training window are higher in fat, they're lower in carb, and they're still high in protein, because we don't need it to digest quickly, we don't need to kickstart the recovery process, we're not training in an hour, we haven't just trained, we can pretty much eat what we like within reason. Really good way to get the fats in there too for hormonal reasons, etc. And then meal 5, you can't finish the day without a yogurt bowl. 300 grams of GoPro, 5 grams of chia seeds for some more fiber, some antioxidants and some nutrients. There is no room for fluff in this diet. You can't just be eating rubbish just because the calories are low. They need to all count. All right. 100 grams frozen berries, again for the fiber. 15 grams of peanut butter, again for the fat. You can see the trend here. And then some sugar-free maple syrup. This is a perfect training day diet for someone who's on low calories. Protein's at a good level. Fats are still at a moderate to lowish level. Fiber's very high too, again, to keep us full, but the carbs are higher. Now we move on to our rest day, which is slightly lower calorie, but you can see protein's pretty much the same. Fiber's pretty much the same. Carbs are a lot lower. Fats are a lot higher. We don't need as many carbohydrates on the rest day because we're not training. We can also spare and save some calories, allocate them to fats to make sure the dick doesn't stop working. Our joints and our bones are all good. You get the point. Now, with rest day, something I really pump into clients and myself too. Always push that first meal back. Again, for me in particular, because I train in the morning, today's actually a rest day when I'm recording this. I'm a lot hungrier on training days because I start eating earlier. It's just the way my schedule runs. As opposed to on a rest day, I can push that first meal back because I don't need carbs, I don't need protein in the morning. I'm not training. So I will have, there you go, perfect example. An energy drink, a shit ton of water too to stay hydrated. Again, caffeine's going to help push out that first meal, okay? Which I like to consume at around 11, 12-ish, okay? We're shortening the eating window, which means less time to feel hungry, more time to feel full. Now, the goal of the rest day is to recover, but to also make sure we stay under our calories and not smash the carbs for no reason, all right? One of the client favorites, I reckon this is on like 4 of the boys' meal plans, sweet chili tuna wraps. Simpson's Pantry, low carb, high protein wraps, a literal godsend, okay? 90 grams, which is 2 of them. As you can see, they're a lot lower in carb. They're a lot higher in fat and fiber. Going to keep you full with the protein. 2 tins of the Tuna Light Serena, all right? Again, we're still having bread. We're still having tuna. We're just picking the smart options, guys. It is a numbers game at the end of the day, but we want to make sure our nutrients are accounted for. 30 grams of lettuce, 50 grams tomato, sweet chili. Oh my God, this sauce, the AM brand, make sure it's the light one. Fucking elite. All right, 30 grams of this shit, 8 calories. Come on, man. And then obviously an apple on the side too. So we look at these macros here. Carbs are low, fat's pretty solid, fiber's high, protein's high. As you can see before the trend, everything is calculated, guys. Do not be going into these aggressive cutting phases. Pretty much you're trying to do if it fits your macros because you are not going to get far. Now this is actually a new one I just added to the recipe log for all the boys and girls on the team. This is the Big Mac steak sandwich. Yes, I know you're going to be eating a Big Mac steak sandwich and getting fucking shredded. Listen up. We've got 200 grams of rump steak, make sure it's lean raw weight, and then 2 servings or 4 slices of the Buttercup Country Split wholemeal bread. Again, we're eating bread and getting shredded. Oh my God, you have to be, no, you just need to be smart. Okay, 50 grams of avo, 30 grams of onion, 50 grams tomato, 30 grams of lettuce, 2 slices of the Bega cheese slices, the reduced fat one. Doesn't have to be Bega brand, just make sure it's a light blue packet. That normally means it's less fat. And then 20 grams, or 20 mils I should say, of burger sauce. You're having burger sauce, bread, fucking wraps, and getting shredded. Again, not because I'm so cool, but everything's accounted for. Everything is implemented smartly. Absolute bomb of a meal, low carb, high fat, high protein, moderate fiber. As you can see, the trend. I sound like a broken record. And then finishing off the day again as well, pretty similar to yesterday's meal. Yogurt bowls before bed are great. The protein in the yogurt is actually casein protein, which takes longer to digest, which is perfect because when you go to sleep, you're not eating. Muscle protein synthesis is still being activated, etc., helping you recover. So pretty much the exact same meal, except 15 grams peanut butter, and then I know this says 1, but it's actually half a scoop of protein powder, 46 protein, 10 fat, 5 fiber, 22 carb. So you can see the kind of running theme with all the rest day meals is they're high in protein, they're moderate to high in fat, and they're high in fiber, whilst the carbs being lower. That is how I want you to think of your rest day, to keep you full, to keep you adherent and allocated to your amount of calories, and not slamming the carbs, running into any insulin sensitivity issues, staying responsive to carbohydrates. That way on the training day, when you are consuming them, your body's utilizing them perfectly. Again, guys, this is just a kind of rough sketch of a meal plan. Again, the template I use, automated shopping list, all the meals, print it out. Link in my bio. Join the team, you fat cunt. But yeah, guys, it is literally that simple. Any questions, any other videos you guys would like me to cover, please let me know. I love making these sort of videos. We're taking over YouTube, guys. Really hope you guys enjoyed. If you could like, share, subscribe, all that sort of shit, would really appreciate it. All right, get back to me, boys. Hope you enjoyed. And girls, Alana and my mum, I know you're the only 2 women watching this. If you guys want similar videos like this, let me know in the comments. Like and subscribe, you filthy animals. I'll see you in the next one.